Our coverage in Sioux Falls, South Dakota continues on. South Dakota State joining us, Coach Aaron Johnson, the reigning champs. 3 years in a row, Coach. You guys seem to really like this place, huh?
I know our fans do.
Yeah.
When you get
Yeah,
a chance
they
to see
do.
the Jackrabbit fans come down here, it's been a great event. And, yeah, we've played well, so that's made some good memories.
Yeah. What are you expecting of this group this year? Obviously, return a lot of core pieces. What kind of expectations do you hold this group to?
You know, expectations are something we don't talk a lot about. We certainly do. Where do we want to get to? What's our vision? But on the day-to-day, it's all about the day-to-day. This year's team is very different than past teams. Last year, I think we returned 8 players that have all started significantly. This year, we don't have that. This year, we've got a ton of freshmen. And some of them are true freshmen. Some of them were freshmen redshirt last year. Some experience, but no game experience. We have one transfer. It's never played a game here. We have a couple of returners that will play a lot that haven't played. So it's a very inexperienced team, but very talented. So not a complaint, but we have to learn what we're going to get from each other in game situations. What's going to be the best rotation? What's the best plan? Where last year I felt like we knew each other well. This is what we do. Let's go do it. So a very different year, but again, really talented team.
Before we move on to this season completely, I want to touch on the ending of last year a little bit. You guys had a great little run there at the end, and then you guys are a national brand in mid-major, and you go up against one of the biggest brands in women's college basketball in UConn. How would you describe what that experience was like for this program, the girls on that roster, and just a memory you guys, what did you guys learn from that game, that experience?
Yeah, very challenging, I'll say that. But to walk into that facility and you see, obviously, the banners. You know who you're playing against. You see some of the alums sitting in the stands, of Connecticut who have played, obviously, for the NCAA championships, but also played professionally. And it just feels different. Anybody that can't see that is just not paying attention. And then you play against that kind of talent, and those things are all great experiences. They're hard because it's not easy to do what you want, but they make you better. And I think our team looks at that with a really healthy perspective. I think they enjoyed every part of that. And you want them to. You don't want them to just pretend like, we're just here for basketball.
Right.
Yeah.
You want them to soak it all in, and I think they did. I think our fans that went out there just were so thrilled to be a part of that. And it's unfortunate our season came to an end right there, but it came to an end in a pretty special place I think we can all feel good about.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, those challenges don't end at the end of last year. You guys always continue this. I feel like we always ask you the same question about your scheduling. But when you piece that together, when you put some of those challenges on this schedule, what are you hoping your team truly takes out of some of that competition that they're able to translate when it comes to conference play?
Yeah, a little bit of the same. We're always willing to put ourselves out there. We're not afraid to play great competition. We don't try and schedule for just wins. We kind of try and schedule for growth. How are we going to get better as a team and as a program? And some of that's for us, some of that's for our fans. To bring Texas or Duke or any of these teams to our community does a lot for just youth sports, young girls who are watching and maybe get a chance to aspire to something. So there's just that growth feeling that we try and live up to in scheduling. But those are challenges that, make us better, hopefully, too, basketball-wise. So we want to approach it with the right way. We're trying to figure out a way to win the game. And at the same time, we understand that it's hard to play that kind of team. So you want to move on. Whether you have success or whether you have a failure in a possession or in a game, you want to take some things and move on. And I think our team's been pretty good about that.
Obviously, we mentioned roster. You graduated, lost some key pieces, but you've got others that are ready to step up. Let's talk a little bit about the transfer first, because you haven't had a lot that have come into this program, but Maggie Hartwig, as a junior coming from Evansville, what does she bring to the floor for you that maybe you haven't had or that you're looking for an extra boost from?
Yeah, for sure. And we graduated 3 people there, whether it be Callie, Mesa, and Maddie, who all kind of played that 4-5. And now Maggie will step in and give us some experience. She's almost scored 1,000 points so far in her career, a ton of rebounds, so a lot of college experience. She is really skilled. She shoots it really well from the perimeter. She can put it on the floor. She's a good defender, good rebounder. She will complement Brooklyn Meyer so well because of her ability to play on the perimeter and really shoot it. So we're looking for that experience. We needed somebody in that spot. I really like the fact that she can also play the 5 some too, because we're just not quite as deep there. We'll probably play a little bit smaller this year, and she'll fit into that, I think. So, but just really lucky for us to bring in somebody that's got that kind of experience.
Those 3 freshmen that you redshirted a season ago, what sort of progress have you seen from them? Where do they fit in to this puzzle piece that you have?
Yeah, we're still spreading the puzzle out to see where the edge pieces and everything are. Molly, Jaden, and Claire have been fantastic. They had really good redshirting years. And I've seen plenty of players redshirt where they just kind of go through the motions. And it's like, well, that was probably waste. You should have,
Yeah.
But all three of them were great. They were really engaged last year, have grown in their games. Molly will give us a lot of minutes at the point guard position. She's really dynamic, really explosive. Not going to compare her to Paige, but she has some of that kind of shiftiness and things that Paige Meyer brought to our team. Claire and Jaden can kind of play that forward, that wing spot, so we're going to need some depth there, but we've been really impressed with what they've done. We also need Emily and Katie Vasika to step forward, too, who are sophomores, but they are part of that freshman recruiting class. Both of them are going to have to play much bigger roles, I think, are capable of it. And then you kind of blend some of those new players with some of those returners, Brooklyn Meyer and Maddie Mathewitz and Ellie Kolbeck. So it's a good group, talented group, but like I said, just not as much proven game experience. So there'll be some learning that goes on, some growing, but it'll still be a fun year for them to aspire to.
That learning curve comes in all forms and fashions, and the offensive efficiency that this team has played with over the last couple seasons, I think so much of that because of the caliber of a kid like Paige Meyer out front. That's hard to replace. That's difficult to do. Could be point guard by committee, and how do you see others stepping into that role?
Yeah, that's a good way to say it, efficiency. We've been so efficient, and so far in practice we have been less efficient, I would say.
Numbers not so great.
Not quite as
They don't
where we
lie.
need. And we can grow. We can get better with those. But you take for granted what Paige did. I mean, she could just make something out of nothing. And I went back and watched a bunch of film like we do every offseason. I just felt like every possession, something productive happened. And Paige was a big part of it. Brooklyn's a big part of it. And this year you can see in practice we're still kind of working through that, how we make some reads off of screens and how we get the ball to where it needs to go, and just simple things that we have to get better with. The talent is there to do it. You mentioned kind of point guard by committee. I think we'll play a little faster pace this year.
Okay.
I think we're a little more dynamic in how we get the ball down the floor with a variety of players that can handle the ball and get us into offense. So we've really worked on that to try and lean into some of that depth and maybe inexperience where we don't have to put so much pressure on one person at one time. So we've tried to lean into that, and we'll see, I guess. Give me another 30 days and I'll know more, but that's what we're working towards.
Well, I know the preseason player of the year is here. We're going to have a chance to talk to her in Brooklyn Meyer, and I think one of the things that has always been so impressive, and you said it one of the times we chatted, about she's such an underappreciated passer. And I've always thought, once you said that opened my eyes to Brooklyn Meyer does a lot of other things on the floor that not everybody sees. As she makes this transition into her senior year, what does she have to do? What do you need from her? What does she have to be?
One of the things that she really is, she is a winner first, really good player. But that's where her focus is. So when we're out there playing, she's not worried about her touches or her shots or what does it take to win, and that's where her focus is. She's going to have to do a lot of that this year as a senior, a leader. She's a captain for us along with Ellie and Maddie. And so I think she'll bring that presence to us about how we need to practice, prepare, and how we need to play. But you mentioned that passing. We run a lot of things that maybe get her the ball in a possession, and she has a great look, great, but sometimes they're, okay, how are we going to move on the backside? How are we going to screen? How are we going to play off of the idea that most teams are going to double or help on her? So we kind of run things with the idea that we want to pass and play through her, which is so rare for post players. If you're out there, post players, I love you, but it's rare. It doesn't happen.
Is.
And Brooklyn just has that ability, and so she's been a big part of what we do, and we're looking forward to her having a great senior year.
Absolutely.
What would you say is at the foundation of this program, when rosters change, that the success you guys have year after year is the expectation? I know that the expectation word is something that we talk about, but for you guys, what is that foundation that allows for success to happen in Brookings?
People are always at the heart of everything we do, and still should be in college athletics with all the things we're going on about institutional NIL and all these. Easy to get distracted and forget that our jobs are to help bring people together, develop them in a way that helps them be successful after college. That's still at the heart of what we do. And I think the people that come to South Dakota State come with their eyes open. We're very transparent about who we are, who we're not, what we're looking for, how we can help them, and I think they buy into that. It's not a transactional recruiting process for us. So I think that's why most players have stuck. I think that's why we've added a few pieces at times where maybe they didn't have that experience somewhere else, and that's what we have to kind of stay true to. And I think if we start chasing and try and be something else, I think that would ultimately hurt who we are. So how we develop, how we retain, how we help people is still the heart of what we do.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Her name's been brought up a few times, but Paige Meyer, to see her sign a professional contract, just what kind of joy does that bring you to know that playing here at South Dakota State can open up doors for you in the future?
Yeah, that's awesome. She's doing great. She's enjoying it over there. It's different, everything about it's different, but she's having fun and a great experience. We've had a few players over the years that have had that opportunity. I think Paige is, I could be wrong, but I feel like she'll be a lifelong basketball person, playing as long as she can, probably hopefully coaching down the road. We'd love to get her back to Brookings. She has it, and she's good at it. So this experience opens her up to new ways to do things. It opens her up to hopefully continuing to play, but it just keeps her in that basketball world, which she's so good at.
Coach, you're entering your 26th season. What keeps you at it? What brings you into the gym every single day?
Well, I just enjoy some of the things we talked about. The people part of it's just really important. I really value that part of it. It's driving, it's motivating, it energizes any of us who are working in college athletics, I think. I like the challenges of it. Just kind of a glutton for that. You want to try and you just want to try and do it, whether it's basketball, whether it's solving these off the court issues that come up. I just love those challenges and trying to work through those problems, challenges, whatever you want to call it. I just, those things I really enjoy. And then our area, Brookings has fit our family really well. Our kids are pretty ingrained there. They're having good experiences in what they have going on. So it's just an all-around great fit, and hope to keep it going.
And the fans love Jackrabbit women's basketball,
that
which you
atmosphere
can't beat.
is incredible at Frost Arena.
Huge difference. I just don't think people understand it. And there's some other schools. We just talked about Connecticut. Obviously, they're saying the same thing. But there's a small number of schools that have that, and whatever that number is, we're a part of it. So that's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it. Well, Coach, thanks so much for the time. We'll get your players up on the stage next.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach. Continuing on with the Jackrabbits, Madison Mathewitz and Brooklyn Meyer joining us. Guys, you're seniors. Is that pretty crazy to hear that? Fourth and final year with the Jackrabbits?
It is. It is crazy, but it's so exciting, and we're just so excited to get started in the season.
Yeah. What is the excitement level in this gym? Obviously, plenty of new faces, returners up here. What kind of motivation is within this gym? Obviously, you know how last year ended, 3 years in a row being tournament champs.
Yeah, I feel like we have a good mixture of veterans and then some new players that are really hungry to, get their chance to play in some big games. And so I feel like it has been pretty competitive, and I feel like everyone's just ready for their shot and really excited for the season.
I asked Coach this, but I'm going to ask you guys because I want to hear from a player's perspective. But when winning a championship here and going to the NCAA tournament is the expectation year after year, how do you guys make sure that foundation is the same every year? So no matter if it's younger players getting their opportunity or a transfer here into, they understand this is the goal no matter what.
Yeah, I think we just our coaching staff and our players as a whole lead with such consistency. Our program, just ever since I stepped foot on campus, I always knew that was the goal, like you said, and the expectations were there. And everyone that has gone through it and the people that are coming in, that it might be new, they have that foundation and they have that ability to find that success.
Yeah, I would say too, every year I feel like we do a good job of kind of resetting too, and we have a new team and I think our coaches are really good at putting us all in the right position to go out and play our best. And so I feel like that also adds to it, kind of like what Maddie said, is just consistently bringing it just every year.
Yeah. I also asked Coach this too, and we'll talk about this season, but you guys ended your season at UConn last year, and of course it was a bittersweet moment. The season ends, but you guys are a national brand of the mid-major league, and then you go to the brand of women's basketball. What was that experience like for you guys to be in that kind of atmosphere to play a college basketball game?
Yeah, it was really fun. It was a dream come true. I mean, I followed UConn growing up and loved their program, and I followed a lot of their players and stuff. And so, yeah, it was just a really cool basketball experience that I'm going to get to tell my kids someday that I got to play at UConn. So, yeah, it was pretty special.
Yeah, it was so cool too. Like you said, we're lucky enough to be a great program in that mid-major area and working our way up. But getting to go to UConn and see where it all started essentially was really special. And, getting to show all the little girls back home too that all those dreams are possible.
Absolutely.
I love that.
There's an old quote that says pressure's a privilege. And so with that comes high expectations, which is what your program has been about for many, many years. And the 4 years now you guys are going to be a part of it. But how is that conversation with some of the new faces, whether that's freshmen? You've got 3 redshirt freshmen. Yeah, they were in practice. They were on the sidelines. They saw it all. But it's really different when you got to lace it up and it's actually 40 minutes on the floor. So how do you guys, as now seniors and leaders, kind of get them to all understand we've got to embrace these expectations? You've got to embrace the pressure. Otherwise, it might eat you up. Am I not mistaken?
Yeah, absolutely. I think having those hard conversations is really important. You don't just wake up one day and have it all figured out. And just, reminding them of that and reminding them that each step forward, they might be small. You might not feel it, but every day just working towards our goals. Coach loves to say, make great habits. And that's our biggest thing right now is just putting all those little habits together to help us have that successful season even under all the pressure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I feel like as seniors too, we've obviously played in some really big games and we know what it takes to get there and to perform. And so I feel like just, this part of the season, everyone's just trying to, get playing time or get, establish themselves and, just reminding everybody that at some point, we're all just one unit and we're all trying to accomplish the same thing and we have to execute and we have to do all the little things right and just holding ourselves to that standard, I feel like is what's really important too.
Well, you got to set the example, one of which for the two of you were part with 2 of those redshirt freshmen. You guys participated in the USA Basketball 3v3 Nationals in the springtime. What was that experience like? And have you been able to take things from that, carry it over maybe into your games individually or even working together on the floor?
Yeah, it was definitely a fun experience. It was good to, play with Claire and Molly and, we haven't gotten to play with them really except for in practice a little bit. And so that was a good trip to, spend time with each other on and off the court. And I feel like, 3-on-3 basketball is just so fast and so dynamic, and we're usually pretty methodical, and we like to take our time.
That's a little change of pace, right?
Yeah. So I feel like that was a good switch up, and it was good to help develop our games individually too, and just get in that environment and play some really good teams too.
Yeah, great competition. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
Out as you think last year, this is your senior year. Again, high expectations, all of those things. But individually, what did you guys say? All right, I'm going to go into this year. This is where I've got to be better. I've got 1 year left, one more run. This is what I need to elevate my game heading into this senior season.
I think a big thing for me is that leadership aspect. Like you were talking about that, just having to be excellent every time we step on the floor and setting that example and making sure to be there for each of our teammates and helping them see what we need to do to succeed at this level. Just so important. And then obviously just being consistent every game. It's so important to have a great team, to have consistency out there. And for me as a player, just doing that on both sides of the basketball.
Yeah. Brooklyn, how about you?
Yeah, I would have to agree. I feel like being a senior, I feel like really puts it in perspective. And it's this is the last time that we're going to get to do this. So why waste an opportunity to, pick up a teammate or get better, push each other. And I feel like that's really, the leadership aspect, I feel like has been a pretty big emphasis and just, showing up every day and, trying to hold the rest of our teammates to a good standard. So,
vocal leader or lead by example or a combination of both? How do you see yourselves?
I guess I would say a combination of both.
Okay.
A combination of both for sure. But this year I've definitely tried to take that step forward of being vocal and making sure to, voice those things that you might be thinking that don't always need to go unsaid, you know?
Or that someone else said for you last year. right?
Exactly,
Yeah, there you go. How
exactly.
about you?
Yeah, I feel like I'm more naturally like lead by example.
Okay.
Sometimes I don't know. It's hard to like know what to say sometimes, and like things
Yeah.
that you tend to overthink about sometimes.
Yeah.
But I feel like definitely this year it's been more of an emphasis and getting more comfortable. And part of that is just building relationships with new teammates and new new pieces. And I feel like knowing that like I can trust them and they can trust me, and we all want what's best for each other. I feel like is what's really good for us.
Absolutely.
For you both, just what kind of legacy do you hope to leave with SDSU? When fans think back at both of your names, they see the records, all of that, what do you want them to think about?
Yeah, I just hope that they look back at us and they see how much joy we played with and how much fun we had. I mean, I feel like what's really special about SDSU is like we're good on the court, but like off the court, we're all best friends and we all love each other, and like through everything, I just feel like that's really what's going to stick with me. And so I hope that when other people watch us, or when those little girls come to our games and they watch us and they see us interact, I hope that just inspires them, and I hope that that's obvious to everyone watching.
I love it.
Yeah, I guess I would say very similar. Just that joy, finding that fun in the game, and really just remembering what it's all about. It's the people.
All
It
right,
is.
I got one fun question to end on. I've asked every single team this.
It's a good one.
It's a good one. Okay, so if you could pick a famous person to sit courtside at a game of yours, who would you pick and why? Come pull up to your game, watch you hoop.
And we've had all sorts of answers.
Yeah, there's no wrong answer.
No.
I think I would pick Asia Wilson because,
there we go.
she tweeted about us last year
Yeah.
after we beat Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
So that was
Okay.
really cool. So I feel like, I don't know. She said she likes her fundamentals, so I feel like she would like to sit courtside.
Yeah, she'd have fun. She'd enjoy it.
She can learn some
Yes,
things. Yeah.
yes.
This is her personal invite.
Yep, that's a great one. Gosh, that's a good question. I'm a big Nafisha Collier fan.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
So Minnesota Lynx,
Minnesota, there you go.
girly.
Minnesota kid, there
Yep.
you go.
So I think I'd love to have her there, and just let her see what we're all about too.
There you go.
I
I
love
like
it.
it.
Let's
Two of the
go.
best
That's
in the
awesome.
game. You might as
Good.
well.
Yeah.
Right?
All right, two great answers. Best of luck to both of you in your senior seasons. We can't wait to watch you guys.
Thank you so
Awesome.
much.
Thanks,
you.
ladies.
Great work. Thank you.
Thank you.